Hello my friends, it's Chris here, and today I would like to show you how to make infinite RF power plants with Mekanism. And since I like to build and I really love creative stuff, I will show you a design that you can use to have a better looking compact farm. So let's get into it. So as the title already tells it, I'm going to use the Mekanism mod for making the infinite RF power plant. You will need an electric pump, an electrolytic separator, a pressurized reaction chamber, a crusher, and the gas burning generator. So the basic resources that you will need to get this factory working is basically water and biofuel. There are plenty of ways to get biofuel. As you can see, almost all the food and nature stuff can produce biofuel. And if you are not using any other mods, then the easiest way is to make a cactus farm, a melon farm, or a pumpkin farm. I like to use the pumpkin one. But if you're using other mods or you're playing with a mod pack and there are botany pots in it, then just use a hopper botany pot with a melon in it, and then you can feed it into the crusher, which will be our first step to get this thing started. So I'm gonna just quickly break down how this thing works. So basically we are getting something natural into the crusher, which will then produce biofuel, which will then be fed to the pressurized reaction chamber exactly here. On the other side, you have to pump out water and connect it to an electrolytic separator, so it will separate it to oxygen and hydrogen. And you also have to use just simple water to the pressurized reaction chamber. So what will happen is I'm putting the melon into the crusher, it creates biofuel, which will then be deployed to the pressurized reaction chamber. And I'm also pumping out water, which is broke down to hydrogen and oxygen, as I mentioned. And for sure, since we all learned chemistry, we know that water is H2O. It means that it will produce an amount of oxygen and twice the amount of hydrogen. So you will also have to take in dumping excess, because whenever the hydrogen is not outputted to anywhere, then you will have excess oxygen. So you will always have to dump the excess. And then the hydrogen has to be connected to the pressurized reaction chamber. And you also have to connect the water. So you will have to have a column of water and a column of hydrogen. And as I mentioned, the biofuel should also be included here. You can see that the ethylene is being produced, and then the only thing you have to do is just connect the ethylene to the gas burning generator, and then it will create the RF that you will need. I'm also going to let this flow into this energy cube, and as you can see, it is producing a lot of RF. But since it is Mekanism, the mod uses Fe, but it has almost the same purpose as RF because it is supplying other machines with energy. And I would also like to show you how to use the cables. In Mekanism, you will have three main types of cables. You will have the basic logistical transporter, you will have the basic mechanical pipe, and you will have a basic pressurized tube. The logistics transporter is used to transport items. The basic mechanical pipe is used to transport fluids, and the basic pressurized tube is used to transport gases. But if you're hovering over the items, you can see if you're pressing the left shift that it is capable of transferring gases, infused pigments, slurries. This one is fluids and the other is items and blocks. The way you can make the pipes look like this, so basically this means that it is extracting on this side and inserting on this side. The way you can do it is basically just having a configurator. It has a kind of basic recipe. You will have to have some basic machines though. And with the configurator, you just have to shift and right click on the side you want to modify. And if you're pressing it once, it will do push. If you're pressing it twice, it will do pull. And the same thing the other way. If you're pressing it 3 times, it will then make the connection disappear. And so you can play with it to not have this cable connected to a really close machine. And for now, this is the smallest structure that I've could done, but for sure I'm using botany pots here. So basically the pumpkin is fed from here, the crusher crushes it, then it is dropping the biofuel to the pressurized reaction chamber, and on the other side, water is getting pumped out to the electrolytic separator and to the pressurized reaction chamber as well. And the reason why I do not have a pipe connection between this pressurized reaction chamber and the electrolytic separator is because if you're placing 2 machines next to each other, then you can just play around with site config. And for example, if I want to transfer the hydrogen from here, then I just have to come to gases. I can see that on the top there is the separator, and I just have to set it to output. And just another addition that for sure you will have to manually supply these machines for the first time when you are doing this structure, but after a time it will be self-supplying. You can connect the whole thing to either the gas burning generator or the energy cube. Thank you all so much for checking in. I hope I could help you even just a little bit, and I wish you all an amazing day and an amazing week. Bye bye.